What's up, everybody? I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend, and now we are transitioning to Christmas time, one of my favorite times of the year. And with Christmas time comes Christmas movies. Those movies are a category all on their own. It's like a whole genre on all these streaming services. And let's talk about a franchise that is near and dear to my heart, the Home Alone franchise. Everybody knows Home Alone and Home Alone 2, but funny enough, not a lot of people know that there are more than two movies. Every time people talk about the third one or the fourth one, everybody's like, wait, there's more movies? When did they come out with these? Funny enough, yeah, there's a whole franchise. In fact, there are 6 total Home Alone movies. I watched all of them, so that way you didn't have to. So it's time we talk about the Home Alone franchise and rank all of them. So starting off with number 6, the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst. And it's the new one, Home Sweet Home Alone. This movie should be forever eradicated off the face of the earth. Where do I even start with this dumpster fire? Oh yeah, our main character, the kid, you know, the one that we're supposed to root for, the one that's home alone. I hate this kid. I hated this kid with a burning passion. He was annoying. He was an actual brat. And you know, the funny thing is, throughout all the Home Alone movies, when the traps are going on, the kid usually has like an adorable smile or an adorable laugh. You're just like, oh, he's so cute when he does these kind of evil things. No, this kid, during the traps, has the most evil, Jigsaw-like mentality. Like, he's always just like, ha ha ha, and he's just like, that's right, die. It's just like, he literally has like the most like he has the most punchable face throughout this entire film. And I hate saying that because I'm sure the child actor that played this kid is a fantastic human being who deserves all the love in the world. But that character he played absolutely sucked. And also, what were they thinking making our villains more likable than our main character? Our villains aren't even villains. Like, they're not even bad people. They literally are trying to get back an artifact that is theirs because they are the rightful owners. They think the kid stole it and they're trying to get it back. And they're doing it for a good reason because they don't want to sell their house. They don't want to upset their kids. So, like, why am I against them? Why should I be happy and laughing when they're going through this horrendous Saw-like torture? Like, it's an uncomfortable view. And yeah, let's talk about the traps. You know, sometimes the traps are a little goofy. They're supposed to be over the top. But for this, it's like the director saw all those memes of, oh, Kevin McAllister grew up to be Jigsaw, and they did that times 10. Like, these traps are straight up brutal, and not in a funny way. They're just like, oh my god, like, this kid is not right in the head. Why are these traps a thing? The only 2 things I even remotely enjoyed about this movie were Ellie Kemper. I think she's a great actress. I think she's really funny. I will always love Aaron from The Office. And 2, the cameo of Buzz McAllister. I liked it. You know, it's nice to see him, but how dare this movie? How dare this movie associate itself with the first 2 movies? No. You do not deserve to be in the same universe as the original Home Alone movies, okay? The fact that they even used the same music when this crap kid was putting all his traps together, I seriously wanted to turn off my TV. I was so annoyed. I hated this movie. It's bottom of the barrel. I hope I never have to watch this movie again. Coming in just above it, and not really saying it's better, it's Home Alone 4 Taking Back the House, whatever the hell it's called. Yeah, this is also a piece of crap as well. This was seriously the first time I watched this movie, and I hated my life so much. I seriously regretted every life decision I ever made up to this point. So it turns out that the kid in this movie is Kevin McAllister. Yes, the Kevin McAllister. This was like a soft sequel / soft reboot because they don't really mention Home Alone 2 at all, so it seems like this is kind of a sequel to Home Alone, the original one. So yeah, this is our Kevin McAllister. I don't even know where to start because, first of all, the studio has some gall to say this is Kevin McAllister to replace Macaulay Culkin. That takes some courage to do that because, you know, people like the first 2 movies. So you do that. And not only that, this kid acts nothing like the Kevin McAllister. Like, it's like they're 2 totally different people. So I don't know what they were going for. This movie was too dumb to follow. And what really makes me mad is that there is another reoccurring character in this movie besides Kevin McAllister. And it is Marv. Harry is not in this movie, but we get Marv. This is Marv. This guy is Marv. We're supposed to believe that this guy is Marv. This guy right here. Go screw yourself, Home Alone 4. Oh, in terms of the plot, this is where it gets really funny. So Kevin's parents are going through a divorce, and The dad comes to the house and tells his wife, who is going through a divorce with, that, hey, I want the kids to spend Christmas with me. That way they can get to know my new hot, rich girlfriend. And oh yeah, by the way, the day our divorce finalizes, I'm going to marry my new girlfriend of 8 months. Yo, my man. No! So Kevin decides to stay with his dad because he hates his siblings. He's like, yo, I hate my siblings. Let me just spend time with my dad in the new rich house, okay? Now the bad guy's in this. Marv is married, okay? Marv is married, and their plan is to kidnap a royal kid that is coming to the rich girlfriend's house. What? I don't even know where to start with this, okay? The character, like, that's not Marv. He sucks in this movie. He's terrible. Everybody sucks, right? Everybody sucks in this movie. And the traps, I don't even remember any of the traps. Like, they're not... I couldn't, like, gun to my head, I could not remember a trap. Maybe the revolving door one, that's it, but there's barely any traps in this movie. It's not fun. It's not funny. Christmas is barely a factor in this movie. It sucks. I hate Home Alone 4 with a burning passion, but the only reason I have it above the new one simply is because the kid in this movie, Kevin, is actually sort of likable. He's actually kind of an adorable child. Again, he's not that piece of crap kid in the new movie, okay? I hated that kid, but this kid I kind of pull for. So I guess I put it above. I mean, you could interchange it. I really don't care. These movies suck. All right, coming in at number 4 is Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist, which came out in 2012, I believe. Look, I wanted this movie to be good so bad because I was going through a binge of these movies, and after Home Alone 4, I was like, oh my god, please let this movie be good, please. And yes, I was, again, severely disappointed. Like, it's not as bad as Home Alone 4 or the new one, but, like, it's not great. Like, there's no reason that this movie had to be made. So in this movie, the family buys a new house, okay? And in the basement, there is this rare art piece that was made by a bootlegger in, like, the 1800s, okay? Just try to digest that. So then these art thieves come to the house to try and steal it because it's worth, like, I don't know, like $40 million. It's worth a lot of money, okay? So that's the plot. Where do I even begin with why I hate this movie? Okay, first of all, he's not even home alone. He's not even home alone! Like, that should disqualify this movie! His sister is with him! Now, yes, the sister is locked in the basement for the majority of the movie in the second half, but he's still not home alone. Home alone implies that there is nobody there to help him whatsoever, so he's not even home alone. The movie couldn't even get that part right. And second of all, the first half of this movie feels like a crappy Goosebumps story, because the first half of this movie is about whether the house is haunted or not. Even the bad guys are arguing, well, like, is this house haunted? I think there's a ghost. They don't even realize there's not even a ghost in the house until, like, there's 30 minutes left in the movie. Like, what are we doing? And let's talk about our main character in this. Okay, first of all, the kid actor was actually pretty good. I actually liked his character. But the writers really wanted you to know that this kid was a loser. And how did they do that? Oh, he's a gamer. He just plays games all day. Oh, he's just a gamer. I hated that so much. I love video games. I've always appreciated them, okay? It takes a certain skill to play video games, right? Not everybody can just pick up a game and just play it unless it's meant for that, okay? Games take skill. And they just make this kid look like the biggest loser in the world. Like, the parents are like, God, all he does is just play games all day. He has no social skills. He's scared of the world. And he is. He is literally scared of the world. He's like, can I just go back and play my video games? And, like, every time they talk, he has to associate video games with it. And it's so annoying. Like, gamers are not like that. Not every gamer is a person that just can't socially interact and is a loser who stays at home all day and can't interact with the world. And I also want to talk about something else, okay? Movies have been doing this for a very long time. From Home Alone 3 on, any child that plays a video game, they play it in the most stereotypical, unrealistic way, and it always boils my blood. They literally, anytime I play a game, they play it like this. Yeah, I'm getting you. Yeah, where's my grenade? Where's my sniper rifle launcher? Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Next level, only 2 more levels. But like, who plays games like this, people? Nobody in their right mind. If you see somebody at GameStop or a mall or any place playing games like that, they should be arrested on the spot. And these are by far the worst villains. Like, they're not memorable, they're bland, they're boring, they're just, oh my god, and I can't believe they dragged poor Malcolm McDowell into this movie. Like, what did this man do to the world? Oh yeah, and this movie has CGI. Why are you using CGI for a Home Alone movie? Under no circumstance should you ever use CGI. And if you can't make the trap look realistic, don't do it. Come up with another trap. Look, I'm not saying that this is the only movie that's used CGI in Home Alone. I've seen it in other movies. I've seen it in the other ones. But, like, it's egregious in this one. It's so bad. And, like, I just got a headache. And I had to walk away. I literally had to go outside and take a breath of fresh air. And I had to somehow convince myself to continue on this Home Alone binge. Now, I will say a couple of the traps in this movie were actually pretty good. I actually got a laugh out of some of them. And the only reason I sort of like this movie is because of the mom and the gamer friend Simon. Simon in this movie is the adult gamer friend who is also equally a loser because he's a kid in college who doesn't hang out with his parents. He just stays in all day and plays video games, and he's a loser. That's what they really want you to know in this movie. But he's hilarious. He basically plays us in this movie, the audience. Like, when the kid is saying, hey, I'm home alone, there's these art thieves, all right? I'm gonna go take care of them. He's like, what? Go call the police? What are you doing? Exactly. That's always our thought process when we're watching Home Alone movies. Like, bro, how about you just call the police? So Simon was actually really funny, and the mom was also hilarious. My favorite scene in this movie that made it worth it was that she gets a call from Simon, and he goes, hey, listen, like, your kid is safe, don't worry. And she just yells at him about, like, human trafficking, and she just says, I will end you. It's a really funny scene. 100%, if you're gonna watch this movie, it's a terrible movie, but that scene almost makes it worth it. Look, this movie is not great by any means, but it's way more tolerable than Home Alone 4 and the new one, so, again, I won't watch this movie again, but if I had a choice between these three, I would rather watch this one. Okay, let's move on. I can finally be happy because now let's get to the Home Alone movies I love. Coming in at number 3 is Home Alone 3. Why do people hate this movie? This movie is freaking awesome. I love everything about this movie. When the holidays come, I always watch Home Alone 2, and I especially watch Home Alone 3. This movie is really near and dear to my heart. First of all, the child in this movie is straight up adorable. Like, by far, he is the cutest out of all the child actors we had. Like, I just wanted to squeeze his little cheeks. He was so cute, and every time he talked, I was like, oh my god, this kid's adorable. Don't you dare hurt him. I want him to succeed so bad. But the reason why I say this movie is a classic is simply because of the villains. The 4 villains in this movie make this movie so incredible to watch and to rewatch all the time. They are all so funny because they're literally terrorists, and the fact that they're being torn apart one by this little kid, and their reactions and the way they act to the traps, it makes it so good. It makes it so enjoyable. I think the traps are also really good in this movie. They're just enough where they're just a little over the top to where it's kind of comedic, but also a little bit realistic where you feel pain when they're getting, you know, hurt. So, and like I said, because the villains are so good at what they do, the reaction to the traps make the trap work. Like, if they don't have a good reaction or good comedic timing, the trap's not gonna be great. And the 4 villains in this absolutely are god tier when reacting to these traps. Like, seriously, do yourself a favor. Watch Home Alone 3. It's really good. Again, I consider this movie a classic. I consider this one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, which is why I have Home Alone 3 at a very good place at number 3. Alright, so we're down to our top 2, and obviously we know which 2 are left, but it's time to get a little controversial because number 2 is the original Home Alone, the one that started it all. This movie is a classic. I love this movie. I will say, out of all of these movies, this one really feels like the most like a Christmas movie. Like, Christmas is a huge theme in this. The traps are very Christmas themed. You know, there's a lot of Christmas stuff to go around. Hence why, you know, the later movies, they just completely went away from Christmas. It's like, oh, it just happens to happen on Christmas. So, like, I feel like that's another reason why those movies aren't as good. But because this one actually has Christmas as a big theme, it actually makes it more enjoyable to watch during the holidays. The performances are great, especially by Macaulay Culkin. The fact that he was like, what was he? Was he actually, I think he was actually like 8 in this. He was like 8 or 9 in this maybe. And he is fantastic. Like, he seriously acts like how we would act if we were home alone. If you look at these other garbage Home Alone movies, like, when those kids are alone, they don't act like a real kid. They do so much over the top stuff that real kids wouldn't do. But Culkin in this movie absolutely would do what I would do if I was home alone. That's what makes it so enjoyable. And even the gags in this movie. When you're watching a Home Alone movie, I know some people that just like to skip the traps, but the really good Home Alone movies, you can actually watch from beginning to end and have a good time. The beginning gags are great. The whole angels, whoever came up with the angels with filthy souls thing, like, you deserve an Oscar in my opinion. That is god tier creativity. That is incredible. It is such an iconic scene. And also the family dynamics with Buzz, with Kevin, with the mom, with the dad, with the uncle, the horrible uncle that nobody likes. Those dynamics are really fun, and like I said, make the movie an enjoyable watch from beginning to end. I know this isn't talked about enough, but the main subplot of the movie with the old man where Kevin thinks he's like this murderer, like a serial killer, that was actually really good. It's a simple message for kids and adults. Don't judge a book by its cover, and always love and reach out to your family because, you know, they're a big part of your life. It's such a simple message that gets it across really well. And again, because it's Christmas time, there always is this big message, and those messages are delivered and executed very well. Hence why I said Home Alone, while a really funny movie, can also get emotional and tug at your heartstrings. And of course, let's talk about our villains. Harry and Marv. These are the villains of Home Alone, which is why it's difficult to enjoy the other Home Alone movies or say they're better than the original two, because Harry and Marv are just incredible. Like, they literally are the perfect villains for Macaulay Culkin's Kevin. Like, they are that great. They're hilarious, their chemistry is off the charts, and of course, they are bad guys. They are established as bad people to the point where you don't want them to win, but because they're so goofy and hilarious, you can't help but enjoy watching them. And yeah, the traps are also incredible. Like I said, very Christmas theme. I can understand why people like this one the most. I can understand why this is the most rewatched one, but personally for me, I'll explain why I like Home Alone 2 just a little bit more. And yes, my number one of this franchise is Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. This was actually the first Home Alone movie I ever watched. Before I watched the first one, it was always Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Anytime, like back in the day when, like, you know, cable was a big thing where you had to watch during Christmas time, Home Alone 2 was always something my family and I watched, alright? So growing up, it was always this movie, Jim Carrey's The Grinch, and Jingle All the Way. Those were the Christmas movies I grew up with, hence why I probably have this one more near and dear to my heart than the original one. Home Alone 2 is one of few sequels in a franchise that can prove that bigger is better. I love the setting of New York. It is a fantastic place for Christmas, and what I also really like about this movie is that it shows New York. Like, New York is a big character in this movie, and it kind of felt like I was part of the scenery, which is why I really appreciate Lost in New York for what they did. I think another part of the story that is very well executed is how Harry, Marv, and Kevin are reunited. I think what I like the most is that Harry and Marv are trying to move on. A very simple thing could have been said, hey, we're out to get revenge, but having the same setting in the house wouldn't have made it fun. So it's like, okay, how do we get them in New York? They're trying to get their own thing going. They're stealing from a kid's charity at a toy shop, which is seriously, out of all these crimes, is probably the worst one by far. Like, that is despicable. But again, because they're so likable, you just blow past it. But yeah, I like that at first. Yeah, they see him, they're like, hey, let's get him real quick. But then Kevin decides to intervene in their plan. Hence why they're like, okay, we just gotta get rid of Kevin. Let's get rid of him, then we'll go back to stealing this stuff. So I think it was very well executed and how Harry and Marv were able to try and get back at Kevin. So that was actually a really good job by the movie on establishing why they're at each other again. And the traps are bigger, badder, and my god, are they brutal. I mean, the exploding toilet, the sink that electrocutes you, the friggin' falling off the roof, the bricks. Oh my god, the bricks. It's so brutal. But because Harry and Marv are so good at reacting to these traps, it makes them so funny and yet still more painful. But the reason I had this movie at number one above all the rest is because of Tim Curry and the Plaza Hotel staff. I read somewhere that a reviewer said for every one-star movie Tim Curry has been in, he's the reason that movie gets 1 star, and I couldn't agree with that more. They absolutely steal the show. Like, even more than traps. Like, when I watch this movie, I always have to watch the Plaza Hotel scenes because Tim Curry and Rob Schneider are gold in this movie. Like, the I love you scene is incredible. The angels with even filthier souls. Talk about taking a concept from the first movie and making it even funnier. I like this sequence way better than the original one. Again, Tim Curry and Rob Schneider are incredible, hence why I had the second one above the first one. Again, I can understand why people have the first one above the second one, but personally for me, Home Alone 2 will always be my favorite Home Alone movie. And there we have it, guys. I have ranked all those movies for you. Please tell me in the comments below what your favorite Home Alone movie is and how you would rank these movies if you've seen all of them. But that's going to do it for me, guys. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.